Sorry about that. Can you hear me, Justin?
I can hear you.
Yeah, just what do you hope to bring to the Wings?
I think I can bring a two-way game. I've been used more defensively in years past, and I think that's probably where a lot of my value lies. But I think I can do things on both sides of the ice. Penalty kill is one of the things that I've been relied upon in the past as well. So I think there's just a couple different areas of the ice that I can make a big impact on.
Do you kind of feel like you have something to prove? I'm sure the playoffs are disappointing for you, getting scratched in a couple of games. Just what do you hope to kind of rebound from that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I always have something to prove. The reality of the situation is that it's a very competitive league, and you need to be at your best at all times in order to be valuable. So there's always an internal expectation of myself, and I don't know if I have something to prove, but I'm always looking to be the best player I can possibly be.
Thanks, Justin.
Colleen St. James.
Hi. Yesterday when this signing came down, kind of what I don't know if you had conversations with Steve or through your agent, like what did they sell you on in coming to Detroit?
Well, I think one of the things that was really appealing to me was what the roster looks like, and I know in terms of playing against them last year, there's a lot of good pieces and there's a lot of promise in this group. So I think that was big for me in terms of being on a contender, and I think we have a chance to do something special.
How do you think you can kind of make them more competitive and find a way, a foothold to be a part of this rebuild, and just get them for closer to the playoffs maybe?
Yeah, I think I like the moves that were made yesterday too in terms of the other signings. For me personally, I think like I said, I can bring a two-way game, maybe more a little bit on the defensive side, but bring a steady presence on the back end and help us win games.
And a spotless kitchen to boot.
Exactly.
Thank you.
It was, well planned.
Okay, thanks.
Ted Colfin.
Hey, Justin, welcome to Detroit. Hey, how playing in a place like Toronto, can that help a player just mentally and physically just be stronger and whatnot, playing in that market and all?
Yeah, for sure. You're definitely under the microscope in Toronto. A lot of guys, like when you talk to guys around the league, they're that's the hardest place to play, all that stuff, I loved my time in Toronto. I thought it was terrific. I'm sure there will be differences and that will be noticeable. But I do think that it prepares you in certain ways to have thick skin and stuff like that. But really you can't, I don't know, you can't worry about the noise regardless.
How was yesterday? I mean, it was such a weird free agent market. I mean, did you have a lot of offers to sift through? I mean, what kind of day was it for you?
Yeah, there were a couple different options. It's kind of maybe something I didn't appreciate right away because this is my first time in this situation, being a UFA like this. But the timing is important on signing a deal, because if you're not going to sign a deal with a certain team, they're going to move on to the next guy, and because everyone's kind of scrambling to get their guys. So I think for me, I was happy that it was able to come together relatively quickly yesterday. And, I'm super excited to be a part of the Red Wings and just be ready to get in the mix here.
Hey, last one, just going from one original 6 team to another. Is there something to that? Does it mean something for you?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I was actually talking about it with my wife and parents yesterday. I think it's really cool to play for, these storied franchises, and Detroit's another one that's, just an absolute classic team and great uniforms, great colors. So great.
Sounds great. Thanks for this.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Jonathan Mills.
Hey, Justin, when you look back on those last 6 seasons in Toronto, where do you think you maybe have taken the most steps in your game, and also just as a person? I know you mentioned on how valuable it was just being there and kind of taking that all in.
Yeah, I think the longer you play in the league, you kind of gain some sort of institutional knowledge where you maybe think the game better. And by think the game, I mean maybe not even think, but play instinctively. But you just pick up things along the way. So I think that's probably, the biggest positive of playing the league is that you just get smarter. As a person, I think, like I said, Toronto's an unbelievable place to play. It is maybe a tougher market in some ways, but it's what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, I guess, would be not to be too cliche, but I think that's probably true.
Thank you. Welcome to Detroit.
Thank you.
Josh Clokey.
Hey, Justin, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, Josh?
Good, thanks. Again, just kind of following up on the previous question, how do you look back on your time in Toronto?
I love my time in Toronto. I have nothing but good things to say about the organization, everybody in the organization, the guys that I played with. It was excellent. I really couldn't ask for anything more. That being said, this is the business, and I'm super pumped to be part of the Detroit Red Wings now. And I've already had some of the guys on the team texting me, and seemed like there's a great group there. And I'm excited to fire it up with them.
What were your favorite memories of playing in Toronto?
I mean, there's a bunch. Like winning the Calder Cup was special. Like first NHL game, first goal, like all that stuff. Some of the mentor trip, father's trip, mom's trip, where you get to spend some quality time with your loved ones, and they get to see how things operate and things like that. So I think just having a lot of success there was fun as a team.
Awesome. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Max Boltman.
Hey, Justin, I'm just curious, what's your impression of the way the Red Wings have changed over the last few years from a pretty up?
Sorry, I lost you for a second there. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, sorry. Just wanted to get your sense for how the Red Wings have kind of evolved and are progressing from kind of the up close view you've got playing against them the last few years in the division.
Yeah, well, they definitely have some really good young pieces like Seider and Lucas Raymond, and players like that are young guys that are really promising. You can see how good they are and how skilled they are, and to be that good at such a young age is pretty impressive. So that's encouraging to see when you think about the years. So I think they're fast, skilled, and they've been tough to play against the last couple of years.
And then just in your talks with I don't know whether it was Steve or through the agent, like, did you get a feel for how they want to use you? I know you talked about you feel like you've got kind of more offense than you've shown. Did that come up in your conversations with them?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that I'm going to be like an offensive dynamo or anything like that, but I do know that that's part of my game, is just playing on both sides of the ice and being effective both offensively and defensively.
Thank you. Welcome to Detroit.
Thank you.
Art Regner.
Hi, Justin. Welcome to Detroit, I guess, is a common theme. And I'm kind of curious, kind of follow up what Max said. Steve went out of his way at his end of the season presser with the Detroit media to say that he wanted to get bigger and heavier, tougher to play against. Were the Red Wings not easy to play against, but did they play a little different style? Do you see a transition that this team is going through to being bigger, physical, and tougher to play against?
It's tough to say, I guess. I think maybe if you look at some of the recent signings, it would point that direction in terms of Sherratt, or we had Bertuzzi last year, who's kind of that kind of player. But I don't know. I think each game kind of presents a different. It's hard to notice, I guess, within the games. Like, you don't really feel like, oh my God, this is like way more physical. Each game is kind of different. So it's hard to say for sure in terms of my personal experience playing against Detroit, but it looks like that's the case.
You played with some really premium high-end goal scorers in Toronto. Obviously, the Red Wings struggle to score. Is there a formula? Is there a characteristic that makes a guy an elite premier goal scorer in the NHL that you've seen during your career?
Well, you're asking the right guy, because I scored so many goals. So
but I mean, the forward core, though, actually, you were feeding the puck to a lot of guys, right? I mean,
no, I know. It's I don't know if there's a certain skill, but there is, I don't know if there's something you can point to, but there is a skill in terms of scoring goals, and scoring goals is hard because these goals are so good, and some guys just have the scoring touch. So hard to say exactly why guys score, but I think obviously the more opportunities you get with high danger chances, the more goals you're going to score. And that just starts with driving play up the ice, which I think is a strong part of my game.
this is kind of a wishful thinking question on my part. Obviously with the additions Steve has made, and the room seems to be taking on a red, white, and blue hue, if you will, the Red Wings. Do you have any pull with Austin Matthews by any chance?
He's a good buddy of mine, but I don't know. He's going to make his own decisions probably.
Have you said some of the guys reached out to you? Who were some of the Red Wings that have welcomed you to the club?
Perron, Fabry, Dylan Larkin, Andrew Kopp, Ben Sherratt. So yeah, they've been super nice, super welcoming, and yeah, I've just kind of been texting back and forth with them, and everyone's pretty excited. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Great, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bob Duff.
Justin, obviously Detroit's at a different stage of development than the Maple Leafs were. There's a lot of young defensemen in the system. I don't know how much you know about the Detroit draft picks in recent years. Do you see your role being any different here in Detroit than Toronto? Are you going to take kind of a mentor role now you've got a few years in the league and you're going to have these young defensemen coming up and learning the ropes?
Yeah, I think for sure. And I think that's just kind of a natural thing in terms of being a good teammate. And I probably played that role in Toronto, not even on purpose and not even being like, hey, I'm like the veteran guy, do something. But I think it's just a guy and being inclusive for everybody in the locker room and, making everyone feel like part of the group, I guess.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Last question, Sean Shapiro.
Hey, with speaking with Derek Lalonde, I'm not sure if you had an in-depth conversation with him, but when you hear about the identity that he wants to play and kind of a role for that, what kind of conversation have you potentially had with him, or what kind of conversation are you looking forward to having with him once you kind of get going here?
Well, I just had a quick one with him yesterday. You kind of welcomed me on board, and we exchanged pleasantries and stuff like that. I'm sure we'll talk more in depth in the near future. And we'll have a clearer idea of what he expects from me and all that stuff. But I know him a little bit. He recruited me to Denver when I was in high school, actually. So he took me around on an unofficial visit, I believe. So it'll be fun. I didn't talk to him about that, but it'll be fun to reminisce on that too at some point.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, those are all the questions we had. Justin, thanks so much for the time today. At this point, we're going to move everyone into the waiting room, and we will be back shortly. Thanks, Justin.